We think we know what AI is all about, but really there's so much involved with this technology. So Brandon Vigliarolo put together a cheat sheet for us here just to better understand AI and how businesses can use it. Brandon, thanks for being with us here today. Just talk a little bit about the technology, what it really is.
Yeah, so a lot of people, especially those in the non-tech world, more business leaders, might think of AI more as this sort of, you know, intelligent actually machines. But really, when it boils down to it, what artificial intelligence is, at least in its current iteration, is basically just machines being taught to recognize patterns. I mean, that's really all it boils down to is, we're able to train machines to recognize certain kinds of images, certain things in images, certain kind of data to pick out maybe bad network traffic from good, all these kinds of different things. As long as there's a pattern involved, and a person could recognize it, a machine can basically be trained to do it as well or better.
And Brandon, when we talk about it, the use cases here for businesses, it's really endless. And we just recently did an interview with a Gartner analyst talking about a study that they recently did showing, more than 50% of the companies they polled plan on doubling the number of AI projects that they're going to be rolling out here within the next year. So obviously there's huge advantages to bringing AI on board. So kind of talk a little bit about businesses and what they're doing with AI.
Yeah, probably one of, and I don't know if this is a major part of that 50%, because a lot of people have already done this, but analytics, business analytics, specifically prescriptive analysis that will, model the future, and then you can tweak individual variables, and machine learning and AI models will be able to actually kind of show you what will likely happen. That's going to be a big, huge use of AI going forward. Analytics is here to stay, and with the powerful tools that exist now, businesses that don't adopt it are going to be left behind. But that's not the only thing that AI can do for businesses. Chatbots, customer support chatbots are a wonderful thing, and more businesses are using them now. They're getting better at recognizing human speech through natural language processing and tools like that. Network security, as I mentioned before, sniffing out bad packets. Detecting fraud in bank transactions is another area that they're being used in. I mean, it's kind of amazing the sheer variety of uses you have. Like I said, as long as there's a pattern that can be recognized, and deviations from that pattern can be seen, it's a use case for AI.
Yeah, and don't you think a little bit, Brandon, that AI does get a bad rap though too? On the flip side, we were talking just the other day with one of our writers about how AI is now being used by some retailers that can truly determine what you're going to return before you even bought it. Things that you put in your cart that they know you're just going to leave there and not actually purchase. So I think sometimes AI, and for good reason, it does get a little bit of a bad rap too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of, humans behave in patterns as well. So, if a machine can be trained to recognize certain human patterns, like you said, you buy a garment and they've got all this data that they've gathered on you, and they can tell, oh, well, this isn't the size that you normally buy, or this isn't the color scheme that you're usually looking at when you're browsing a mobile app. They might have a good idea whether or not that's going to get returned without being worn. It's kind of intrusive, and it has those potentials that it can, if it's gathering the wrong kind of data, be used really to kind of keep tabs on people and monitor and predict their behavior as well. So yeah, there's definitely room in which it can, be kind of overstep its ethical use cases, and that's going to be a concern going forward. But I think as long as businesses are using it for sort of internal things like fraud detection or customer support or analytics, it's going to be a good ethical case to use AI and not sort of keeping tabs on individuals that necessarily don't want to be kept tabs on.
Yeah, most certainly. We all feel a little bit, I think, overwhelmed in that way. Okay, so when you talk about businesses, though, getting started with AI projects, I would think that it could be a little bit overwhelming as well. So how do businesses that are just getting into this and see the need for it, how do they get started?
Yeah, so one of the biggest hurdles to getting started is going to be just not only the sheer amount of tools available, but the specificity of an individual use case for AR. If a business wants to use it for analytics, that's going to require kind of a really big, robust big data picture. If you want to use it for customer support, that's a little bit more of a different kind of model, versus security and other uses as well. They're all going to be different kinds of things, different kinds of data you need, and different kinds of AI and machine learning tools that you're going to want to adopt. So really, a business should approach adopting AI, no matter how simple the tool, no matter how simple they think the tool is, should always look to treat an AI adoption just like any sort of other business transformation effort. Start with gathering data and analyzing what your end goals are. The kind of skills your team is going to need. If you need to hire new people, talk to your leaders, tech leaders, and see what tools they think would be useful for this. Really, it's the same as any other kind of major business project.
Yeah, and I think Brandon too. We've talked a lot about that. AI talent is hard to come by, and we're still trying to get enough people trained in this area as well. So I would think too on that end, it's sometimes hard to find the right people to carry out the projects.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think, hiring is going to be a big part of any new AI effort. You're going to have to look for people, and it might be hard to find them. So, don't necessarily neglect the staff you have. You might have someone who's well trained on certain kinds of coding, that's used in building AIs, and they might not have the skills needed to do that specific kind of training. But most major companies that have AI platforms, Google, AWS, IBM, all these different platforms tend to have their own internal training software that you can get often for free on their website. So don't hesitate to train existing employees who are interested in this, as opposed to just looking outside. You might not find the people you need, but they might be right there.
Yeah, upskilling definitely a good thing to think about in this particular case. Well, Brandon, we certainly appreciate you being with us here today. And if you'd like to know more, make sure you check out Brandon's cheat sheet on Tech Republic.